Hey, Studio 108 community, thanks for clicking in to listen to our chat. Leah is such a wealth of knowledge, and I love sitting down and talking with her because I learned so much. And even though I've been in the conversation of health and wellness, and I've worked out like literally my whole life, and have followed different nutritional thought streams and read all the books, it is impossible to stay current. There's just so much information, and the capacity to integrate and to understand the body as a whole has really become kind of ground into our culture a little bit. And so Leah's going to share some ideas on how we can work out and how we can time our workouts, time our meals, talk about supplements so that we're taking care of all of us. All of us.
Yeah. Although I also want to say, I don't think that like what you were doing, it's not like what was being promoted in the 70s and 80s and 90s. Well, no, it was necessarily bad or wrong. Like they had some stuff figured out. Like what did you know about nutrition from your like bodybuilding days? Like what did you know about carbs and protein and fat?
I didn't know anything. We just took these powder things.
What did the powders have in them?
We have no idea what the powders had in them.
Yes, you do,
because you glow in the dark.
No, well,
it was the first things that were out.
Yeah, but even like when you would do those, okay, so when you would do your long endurance races and you would drink those goo things, what was that? Do you know what was in that? It was mostly carbohydrate, was it not?
Yeah, it was glucose.
Okay,
yeah.
Right. So
but that's a 10, 20 year. That was like in 2001. Compared to the 80s.
Well,
so the 80s, it was just like these chemical packets. And then
but no, I think I mean it was still carbs. Like you were fueling your workout with carbs, right?
Yeah.
Right? And that's so I think
it was chalky and gritty. Does anyone else remember that?
Well, but I think so what I'm saying though is I think that there were some things that they were doing right, and that was that they knew that carbs enhanced performance, right? And the importance of protein in building muscle. So like those things have been relatively consistent. And I think that in this day and age, there's so much dogma and so many like nutritional thought streams, like one being, right, like you've got like a low carb push, there's like a keto push, there is, there are studies about being in a ketogenic state versus more of like a carb burning state for fueling workouts. And I think it just can be really confusing for folks. So I thought maybe we would
let's unpack it.
Yeah.
Let's unpack it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the first thing I want to know is, let's start with when. When should?
So I think something that I see a lot of is people doing like fasted workouts. And I think depending on who you are, that can work really well. Like I think especially for men, whose bodies have the ability to go a little, they're more yang, right? They have the ability to go a little bit longer, potentially without food. Whereas a lot of times women, especially if women are dealing with like hormonal imbalances, maybe doing a fasted workout is actually doing more harm than good.
Too stressful for the body.
It becomes too stressful for the body, especially when what we're seeing is that people are living in these chronically stressed states all the time. So then you're kind of just adding like more fuel to the fire and wondering, why are my hormones dysregulated? Whether that's like, I'm not getting my period, which could mean like, could mean too much progesterone or too much estrogen, like an estrogen dominance, or just like really heavy periods, could be something like PCOS. You could have like lower high progesterone, like all of these different like hormonal responses that we're seeing, and even like cravings and mood swings and all of that could be due to hormonal imbalance. And the way you work out could either help to heal that or could be perpetuating and making it worse. So if you're someone who is struggling with hormonal imbalances and has been doing fasted workouts, maybe exploring eating a protein and a carb before your workout.
Hour before.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be like super, super early before. I mean, I think if you're going more than an hour before, your body might kind of have burned through what you ingested before your workout.
So something easy to digest.
Yeah,
Maybe
something
you're
easy.
thinking more like a snack than a whole meal.
No, I mean, I'm not like even a big fan of snacks. I think the idea of snack is this idea that's been like only came about during the Industrial Revolution, right? So, and has been really perpetuated by companies that, are trying to sell, right? Like it's not, humans used to not eat snacks all the time. Like we weren't,
Really?
we would have meals, right? Like, when you think about humans historically, there would be maybe 3 meals a day, maybe 4 meals, but the kind of constant grazing all day long.
Gotcha,
So I guess like when I think
like,
of,
I do like a good snackaroonie, that's all I'm saying, but yes.
but well,
see
so
what
if you're constantly needing snacks, so like maybe you're not eating enough during your meals and or maybe your meals aren't balanced enough. That doesn't mean that your pre-workout has to be this, like you have to gorge yourself, but if you can look at, rather than looking at it as a snack, which I think sometimes, it's easy for us to just grab something and have it not really be balanced versus saying, oh, it's a small meal. It can be easier to kind of balance your macronutrients within
And
that.
what I also think I want to point out is that there had always been a fear about eating before your workout, like in the culture. They're like, oh, don't eat before you work out. I'm not eating because I'm gonna work out.
Oh, because you'll feel like uncomfortable.
Full, or it was your body can either digest your food or do your metabolic work. It can't.
Yeah, well, so I mean, again, I'm not suggesting, okay, so I think part of that too is what you're eating. So like if I load up on like an oatmeal bowl and I'm putting like all this fat on it, like I'm putting almond butter and chia seeds and nuts on top, like that fat slows down digestion. That makes your carbohydrates digest really, really slow, which is not what we want before a workout. We want the energy to be going to our muscles, right? We don't want to slow down digestion. We actually want to speed things up.
So what makes a good pre-workout meal?
So carb and protein, maybe less so on the fat.
Okay, so describe a carb and protein. I'm walking into my kitchen, laying in the grass.
So in the morning, let's see what you could do. I'm a big fan of keeping like roasted sweet potatoes on hand, like roasting a bunch at the beginning of the week. Super easy. You just kind of fork them, right? Stick them in the oven at like 425. You can massage some coconut oil around them. And actually what happens when you cook the sweet potato like that and then let it cool, the non-resistant starch of the potato turns into resistant starch, and resistant starch is what your gut little bugs need and thrive on for that prebiotic food. So
gotcha. So your roasting is actually baking because you're not peeling it and cutting it up.
No, yeah, so I'm baking a
it
sweet
in
potato.
whole.
So you could do a sweet potato. You
Okay.
could pair that with like egg whites. You could pair that with a protein shake of some sort. Like I've noticed because I've been so active since the studio's opened. For me, the necessity of what word am I looking for? Just incorporating some sort of like protein powder. Really important for me. I think that, and I also don't digest dairy well. So if someone is able to do some sort of like low fat, non-fat, high protein dairy option, like a Greek yogurt or something, or a cottage cheese, like that could be great for them. But because I don't do dairy well, for me, having a protein powder, and again, making sure the protein powder is really clean, minimal ingredients.
Is there one you like?
I've been using Equip Protein, which just has like one. Yeah, it's just Be Well by Kelly. Kelly Levesque is a nutritionist who has also it's like a beef isolate protein powder if you do animal products.
So really, like when you talk, you're so specific that it's such an individual question.
It's really individual, but
it's
really individual, but I think focusing on, so like you could do sweet potato with a protein drink. You could do like oatmeal with, you can mix some egg whites in there, or you can mix protein powder in there. You can add some
my oatmeal makes a huge difference. It's a do or die. Like I can't do it.
Right? You could eat leftover like protein from the night before with your starchy vegetable, like with your sweet potato, with, some fruit. Yeah, toast could be right, so you're getting that carbohydrate. We're just not loading up with a ton of fat.
Gotcha.
Right? And dietary fat is essential in our diet, and especially if we're thinking about women with hormonal issues, like dietary fat is needed to help the hormone signaling. It assists all that. But eating your healthy, especially omega-3 fats, eating
Right.
those away from your workout.
Right.
Or if you take an omega-3 supplement, and you're doing say you're doing resistance training day. So I consider what we do in here, like if you come to my Pilates and bar classes, that's resistance training. We're not lifting heavy weights, but we are loading the muscle to fatigue. And I think that's a whole other misconception, that resistance training has to be heavy weights. It does not.
You can actually do resistance training without.
You can actually do a full, yeah, you can actually.
A kettlebell.
A kettlebell, yeah.
Or
yeah.
a tire.
Or a tire, yeah. I mean, that could be great too. So, so like if you're taking like say an omega-3 supplement, right? And you're having a resistance training day, what we're doing when we're working out is we're breaking the body down so that the body can repair itself. So if we're doing a resistance training day and we're having an inflammatory response in our muscles, because that's what happens when we work our muscles, if we take our omega-3 supplement right after that workout, we are going to be inhibiting the recovery process in our body. So that's another thing that you might want to think about, is taking your supplements away from your workout time. Ditto, if you're doing like an aerobic or cardiovascular workout, you want your body to be able to repair itself after that. You wouldn't want to be taking, your antioxidants, your CoQ10, your alpha lipoic acid, like all of those supplements, those antioxidant supplements, you wouldn't want to be taking that like right after your cardiovascular workout.
Oh, wait, okay, so pump the brakes. This is what I mean, Leah, though, when I say, like, you guys, Leah loves answering questions, but she can't answer specific to everybody, like, on the fly. Like, it really helps to just make an appointment and sit down. Like, so when I talk to Leah around this, I'm like, well, no one wants to hear all of my personal answers to the questions. So like, I want to like capture you later and say, let's go through my schedule and look at my supplements and look at my dietary needs, because I never considered the supplements being important too. So
but you also don't really work out.
Well, Leah, I do my own thing.
You do. Okay, so
to me.
Well, so
and I have big plans for spring.
Yeah, to do Pilates. Well, so after your workout though, and this is something that we talked about a lot when I did the women's hormone health group, was this idea of carb cycling, right? Did we talk about that on the podcast?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's essentially using your carbs in a way that's going to be supportive to your body. It's not like vilifying any one specific macronutrient. And in that class, we talked a lot about using carbs at night, so incorporating more healthy carbs at night, because carbs will kind of put a damper on your cortisol levels, right?
Oh.
So they lower your cortisol. So similarly to after a workout, when your cortisol is super, super elevated, eating something with a healthy carb in it will help to lower your cortisol level, will help calm you.
My brain is just like going crazy because I guess I have a little.
Well, people
vilify the carb.
I know people say like, carb, and there's a reason for that, right?
Because too much is too.
Well, and if you have, again, if you're working with some sort of health problem and your blood sugar is on this roller coaster all day, then, we might need to rethink how we're using carbs for a short period of time to get back to that place of being more metabolically and insulin sensitive to the carbohydrates. But if you're doing a lot of workouts, if you're really stressing your body, then like carbs really can be your friend.
Okay, so let's say summer's coming and when it gets hot, I really like a smoothie. That's good for that's a lot of carbs.
Well, it depends how you make it.
And if I want to put some fat in it, like a half an avocado in there, then that's going to be my smoothie is going to be my after workout thing.
You could definitely do, I still wouldn't like load up on fats after your workout, but yeah, it's less important then.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can do a smoothie like recovery with some healthy fat. I love doing adding bulk by using things like cauliflower rice. Banana would be a great, healthy
Yeah, I don't
carb.
do bananas, but cauliflower rice is a
I
really
mean, you
good
could
idea.
freeze some sweet potato too.
Put sweet potato in my
You
smoothie.
could do, right,
That would take some of the sugar load down.
but you want the sugar after you.
Yeah, but I mean, like compared to
So what would you add in
compared
it?
to an apple and berries and mango and pineapple.
So what would your carb in your smoothie look like?
I just told you.
A sweet potato?
No,
Oh.
mango and berries.
Oh, you would do mango and berries instead of a banana. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, but a sweet potato would have a more stable sugar.
Well, a
And more
sweet potato is
fiber.
a complex carbohydrate, so, but getting carbs in is the important thing. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I wanna know also about like, muscle production, like, is there
Building
a difference
muscle.
between recovery and building muscle? Do you wanna like make a distinction between that, or?
There is, and you need both. I think, like, you need periods of building muscle, just like you need periods of recovery.
Okay.
Yeah, so like the only way to build muscle is to be in a calorie surplus. But you obviously don't want to be in a calorie surplus like 100% of the time. So we are kind of always balancing.
That's interesting. Most people don't dare put themselves in a calorie surplus.
To build muscle, yeah.
To build muscle.
I mean, again, thinking back to like classic bodybuilders, you've got your bulk phase and then they do their cut phase. And I'm not really promoting that for these
the
purposes. Yeah, but and I think protein is really king when it comes to building muscle and getting a steady amount of protein throughout your day, which for a lot of people will look like 30 grams per meal. And that's like a very general, like that's going to look very specific depending on what your goals are, depending on, so much, but that can be like a general.
Yeah, and with such an ingrained weight loss mindset, it's hard for people perhaps to wrap their head around calories towards muscle.
Yeah, I don't think people appreciate that like your body actually needs nutrients.
I know.
Like your body actually really, really needs nutrients to do all of the things it does. And that includes maintaining healthy like hunger, satiety hormones. That includes maintaining like healthy, moods. It includes building muscle. Like if you're having some sort of hormonal imbalance or some sort of health problem, there's likely a nutrient deficiency somewhere, or you have poor gut health and you're not assimilating and absorbing the things that you are ingesting. And that's like a whole other really important piece of the puzzle, is making sure that your gut is in great order. And that means that you're going regularly. So big fan of like celery juice and aloe vera to help with that, drinking enough water, making sure you're eating enough fiber, soluble and insoluble fiber. So
what's the rule of thumb on pooping?
I mean, at least once a day, I would say, yeah. And if you're really having issues, maybe pulling in more of that soluble fiber from like psyllium husk or like chia flax.
I know we're headed to Costa Rica this week, and Leah told me don't even buy the almond crackers. They're not nutrient dense enough. So I've got to get the flaxers kinds.
I love those flackers, those flacker crackers. Yeah, no, I mean, so it's not that they're not nutrient, I mean, but I also don't want to like vilify, I mean, there's nothing wrong with eating those foods. It's just, yeah, like focusing on getting really nutrient dense foods, which generally looks like minimally processed foods. It doesn't mean
it's going to be more satisfying, and then you're going to not have the headaches and the hunger. And
I mean, if you have, there's nothing wrong with the almond crackers. I was just saying, if we have a limited suitcase capacity, there's nothing wrong with the almond flour crackers. No, well, it's just, if we were gonna pick one or the other, I think it's better to go with the flackers.
Well, that's what I'm gonna get. They're on the list. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so we didn't talk a lot about nutrient deficiency. Do you want to say anything more about that?
Just like some common ones would be like vitamin D, but I think our followers know that. And vitamin D, iron, especially in females and like athletes. So, zinc can sometimes, like minerals in general, so magnesium and zinc.
Magnesium, huge.
Magnesium is huge,
And
yeah.
also I moved to that Celtic sea salt, which really helped electrolytes
Helps, yeah.
a lot. I put it in my water, a lot.
And then you're thinking also about potassium too,
Yes,
for recovery. Yeah, so the minerals, well, I thought of this because the potassium and the salt kind of
to
are
go
like
together.
balance each other out, yeah. Yeah,
And also, the naturopath that I was talking to said, like, it would almost be, for that Celtic sea salt, it would be difficult for me to eat too much.
I don't know about that,
But
but
she said, like, go ahead and put it in my water, put it on my food.
okay. I don't know if
So,
that's
I
my
don't know.
perspective.
You don't think that's your perspective?
I think you could probably overdo it on
Could
salt,
you?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All right, well, good to know.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. But definitely, you know, making sure you're well hydrated, because some people are just walking around with not enough hydration. Vitamin D, which can, calcium and vitamin D can kind of work like in tandem too. If your vitamin D levels are low, you might have low calcium levels.
Anything more about supplements?
Sometimes, so people have asked me about like different, like amino acid supplements. I've gotten questions about like creatine is like a big like muscle building supplement that a lot of folks take. There's a lot of really compelling research about it in building muscle. It's a combination of 3 amino acids, you know, so that if,
that might be a yes to try.
yeah, or like collagen powder, like if you're having some sort of like joint injury, maybe taking collagen powder prior to your workout to help. You know, if you're recovering from injury, if you're going to be using that specific body part, that could be something to look at. I mean, I think when we're talking about like hormone health, I always think about B vitamins too.
B vitamins,
B
yeah.
vitamins are important. Making sure, right? So a lot of people, you know, if you're low in iron, also making sure you're getting vitamin A, which kind of helps your body assimilate the iron.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What would have vitamin A in it?
Beef liver. Beef
Oh,
liver is like
yay.
it's a multivitamin with iron and vitamin A. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So that could be. And then just your, like, again, gut health, and we're thinking about really getting a ton of healthy diversity in our diet,
Right,
especially
right.
with like plants, so that you're really having a diverse amount of all of those plant compounds, those polyphenols. So like curcumin from turmeric, and your quercetin from, you know, fruits and vegetables.
You guys, I stopped by Leah's house yesterday and she's like, are you hungry? Well, it was lunchtime, so yeah. And she gets this stainless steel mixing bowl. It mixes me a salad with greens and avocado and pepitas and sweet potatoes and chicken strip, like roasted chicken, baked chicken.
Yeah. And then did I give you digestive bitters to take before?
No, you gave me that aloe because my throat was so dry.
Oh, I gave you aloe. Yeah, that for the, yeah.
And then the meat was seasoned it was so satisfying and delicious. And I'm like, man, she puts it together so quickly. And it's so like cucumbers are in there, like so
I
well
want to do like, I
balanced.
wish I could work as like a meal prep.
I know.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Everybody
So
should
fun.
stop at Leah's house.
I just want to cook for people all day.
I know.
Yeah.
But it was the best lunch. It tied me over for like so long.
Yeah. But yeah. Oh, and the other rich source of polyphenols, sorry, would be teas.
Oh, cool.
Teas. So like I have that focus tea out front, has a little bit of yerba mate. You know, if you're able to handle a little bit of caffeine, taking that tea before your workout could enhance performance. Like because caffeine can enhance performance, and that tea has a very small amount. Plus, it has I think that's Damiana and ginger in it, and all of these super like antioxidant rich herbs. For minerals, like nettle tea, my anchored tea out front that I sell has wood betony in it, has nettles in it, again, super, super mineralizing. So that can be made as an overnight infusion and drinking throughout the day. So like making sure especially our soils are so depleted of minerals, making sure that you're really consuming a lot of plants to get those minerals in, and that can be in the form of tea.
Yeah, I really love that, to think of like teas as nutrition.
As like multivitamins, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think, I'm just gonna ask you, because, you know, I get tea bags out of a box. Is there anything redeemable in those, or do you feel like?
Yeah, I mean,
sugar-
I'm not as
like-
big of a fan because like what ingredients are in the tea bags
I
that
know.
we're putting in hot water and then drinking? Also,
Well,
how long
also-
have they been in there?
And where are those herbs? They're all smashed and everything, like, you don't know the quality of those herbs so much
Right.
either.
So,
So of course yours are better, but like, I think to myself, oh, she probably doesn't mean my smushed up little.
so when I make my tea infusions, I use a French press and I swear by it. And if you want to buy like there's so many sorts of ways that you can infuse tea, like really beautiful ways. I just use a French press
Yeah.
because I'm a simple girl. I don't like having a ton of stuff around. But yeah, buying loose leaf tea, like I sell at the studio. Hannah and I are going to be growing a bunch of herbs down at Oxbow Orchard this summer, so we'll have a bunch of homegrown, really like nutrient dense, organically grown teas for the summer. So like again, if we're thinking about inflammation, if we're thinking about muscle recovery and like cardiovascular aerobic recovery after you're pushing your workout, we need nutrients, we need antioxidants, we need the anti-inflammatory compounds that are found in these plants. Just like you need to be going poo every day, and you need to be getting enough protein in order for your body to recover. And unless there's a health thing going on and you need to temporarily avoid carbs for whatever reason, which is true, like carbs can be your friend.
Yeah.
And at the same time, maintaining those stable blood glucose levels outside of your workout is also going to positively benefit you. So it all comes together like a puzzle.
Cool. Lots to think about.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, we'll talk later and you'll go through my daily schedule and help me personally. And if anybody else wants personal help with Leah, that's what she does. She's very good. We can get you a
health
coaching appointment set up, and
yeah,
you can get some daily like practical advice.
Yeah,
and
and accountability, like one-on-one. Yeah.
100%. The cool thing is she's there for accountability and can stay in touch with you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks,
Are we good?
guys. Yeah.
Thanks for popping in, and take a look for the links in the description and make your comments, your likes, your shares, and thank you for following. Namaste.
Bye.